Sabrina Siddiqui is a politics reporter at the Huffington Post. So, Sabrina, Ryan Lizza of The New Yorker has described Dave Brat as the Elizabeth Warren of the right, saying he uses the kind of that Ralph Nader and even Noam Chomsky have used for many years to pillory the government for protecting the rich and the well-connected from the vagaries of the free market. I'm not sure I'd describe him as Elizabeth Warren or Noam Chomsky, but are we looking at a guy who is the typical kind of conservative that Republicans are used to dealing with, or is he sort of the Occupy Wall Street of the conservative movement?
I don't know if he would go so far as Occupy Wall Street, but he certainly is not your average conservative. A lot of hype has been made about his position on immigration reform and how that's what undid Eric Cantor, when in reality, what Dave Brat talked a lot more about was Eric Cantor's relationship with big business, with the Chamber of Commerce, with Wall Street. Brat was highly critical of crony capitalism and accused Eric Cantor of just being another crony capitalist supporter. So that's something that I think that he's talked a lot about, but at the same time, he hasn't exactly been very specific when it comes to his own policy positions, other than to say, as you mentioned, that he's a free market guy, which is why I'm reluctant to say that he's Elizabeth Warren. He would need to establish a little bit more of a platform in terms of what his own vision is for fiscal policy.
Yeah, to your point, let's listen to him talking about Eric Cantor and going after the Chamber of Commerce, not typical for what we used to from a Republican.
Describe Eric Cantor's vision very easily, and it's described perfectly by the Chamber of Commerce, right? The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is the big business guys and then the Business Roundtable. Every single decision Eric Cantor makes is exactly what the Chamber wants him to do. And how do you know that? Look at Obamacare. Who gets exempted from Obamacare? Big business.
Okay, Sabrina, I'm used to the Obamacare hits, but when did the Chamber of Commerce become the enemy of Republicans?
It still is somewhat of an enemy of the Tea Party, and Dave Brat, even though he's not your typical Tea Party guy, he did get a fair amount of backing from the Tea Party and has since gotten support from groups like Action and Club for Growth. Even though they were not actually present during his actual campaign, they've only embraced him now that he defeated Eric Cantor, and there's this revived movement to kind of take down the GOP establishment. They see a window to resurrect that fight, and you're seeing it play out now in the race for the GOP leadership positions.
And are Republicans concerned that you're going to have a faction, a populist faction within their own party that is against one of the pillars of their base, which is big business in the chamber?
I don't think they're too concerned yet. They have been talking a lot about how this is one isolated race. It's important to note that Eric Cantor could have maybe won this race had he taken it a little bit more seriously. His campaign was a little arrogant about it. They didn't think that there was a problem. Their polling was way off. So it's not entirely clear if the entire GOP leadership is taking Dave Brat as a symbol of an entirely new movement.
All right. Sabrina Siddiqui of the Huffington Post, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.